G'day fellas and gentlemen and ladies. This is a quick rundown or review on the 150 Prado. It's the build that I've been doing on it for almost 12 months now since I first bought it. Just to cover some of the things that I've done to it for anyone that's contemplating doing a Prado build. This will give you a bit of an idea of some of the things you might like to consider when you're looking at putting accessories onto your vehicle. You can see on the front of this one, the bull bar that I selected was a AFN bull bar. I believe they're manufactured in Europe, brought into Australia here. I selected this one purely because it's got a nice sort of wraparound shape or design to it, which I happen to like. Seems to suit the vehicle, to my eye anyway. It may not be everyone's cup of tea. I know that ORA, Off-Road Animal, make a similar shaped bar that looks pretty good as well. That might be another option you'd like to consider, but for me, I selected and went with the AFN. The AFN comes built in with these LED indicators set into the bull bar, and a set of what would you call them, fog lights as well, and the little LEDs do a circle when you turn your indicator on, just to give you an idea of how that works. I also, before I fitted the bull bar, I fitted these yellow road safe recovery points. There's one on each side. They still fit on with the AFN bar. There is a recovery loop on the AFN bar as well, so it actually gives you two recovery points on the bar if you need it. Another thing that I obviously put on there that you can see from the video is I fitted a pair of HTX Light Force combined LED and HID spotlights, and these work really well. I'm really pleased with them. They don't interfere with the radar cruise control, the adaptive cruise control that broadcasts a signal from the center of the Toyota badge. So they don't give any interference problems in that respect for adaptive cruise, which is good to know. The Light Force HTX spotlights, you require a particular type of switching for them, because I'll demonstrate that down here. This is the actual switching for your lights here, and you can switch on either the LEDs or the HIDs or both of them together, and that is wired obviously through the stalk on the side of the steering column here, which you require by law, at least in Australia you do. You've got to be able to operate your spotlights from the high beam, low beam stalk on your steering wheel by law. Now to do that is a little bit difficult on these new 150 Prados, and I thought I'd quickly run through that for you. You can't just wire these up the way you would have wired spotlights back in my day anyway, by picking up the high beam trigger off your high beam headlight. These particular headlights on the 150 Prado, they've got sensors in the dash, and there is another sensor in the camera that's mounted on the windscreen directly behind the rear vision mirror, and that allows you to have auto headlights, which means that they switch themselves on when the sun goes down. They also, because they're linked to the camera, they dip and raise your high beams when you're traveling in the country automatically. In other words, the camera will sense the light rays coming from an approaching vehicle via that camera, and they will tell the headlights to dip from high beam to low beam. And of course, because your spotlights are switched through your high beam stalk, that means that it automatically dips your spotlights as well. Now, in order to do that, the wiring harness for the latest 150 Prados, the model MY21, so the 2021-2022 onwards model year with the 150 kilo wasps 500 neutron bombs engine, 2.8 diesel engine. The wiring harness for the spotlight for the headlights is what's called a CAN bus system. So this means that there is data, computer data, fed down the cabling to converse or talk with the camera and the sensors on the dashboard for the auto headlights feature. And you can't risk sending a full 12 volt amperage as well down that CAN bus system for fear of shorting out the engine control computer that monitors and controls all of these automated systems on these latest vehicles. So you can't just wire into the high beam trigger behind the headlight. You've actually got to buy a patch harness, which I purchased through Toyota and had Toyota install and wire up, for the simple reason that I didn't want to risk blowing out the computer. If you do wire it incorrectly and you blow out the computer, you're looking at about $4,000 for a replacement computer. So I figured it was better to let Toyota do that. If they screwed it up, they can supply the new one under warranty, etc. So for me, that was the way I went. I believe that Steady, S-T-E-D-I, they also, the spotlight manufacturer, they also put out a patch harness, which you might be interested in if you're looking to wire up spotlights on these latest CAN bus operated headlight systems on the MY150. So that's something for you to know. Heading around the vehicle, I'm still running stock standard wheels and tyres, and will be for foreseeable future. I may upgrade later perhaps to something bigger. I did install, or have installed again, a Heyman Reese tow bar at the rear, which included a pair of 7-pin flat trailer connector and a Anderson plug for running power to the trailer if I needed to. And then I happened to upgrade the tow ball itself with a way-safe tow ball that includes a load scale on it, so that I can actually adjust, or I can measure accurately the tow ball down weight when coupling up for towing. At the time that I had that installed, I also had the Red Arc Tow Pro Elite tow controller installed. You can see that down here on the dash to the left of the steering wheel. I put it there to the left of the wheel because I wanted the passenger to have access to the position if you ever do get into a sway situation when you're towing a caravan or a trailer and you want to straighten the vehicle up in a hurry. The quickest and easiest way is to apply the trailer brakes before and without applying the vehicle brakes to slow you down. That will pull you straight and it will solve the sway situation. But of course, as the driver, if you're working hard at the wheel to try and correct the sway situation and keep everything as straight as you possibly can, you may be a little bit busy to reach that button in a hurry and push it. But as long as the passenger's worded up and wised up as to what to do, well, of course, they can have the option of doing that. One other thing that I installed since having purchased the vehicle, come around the back, I also had one of these, which is the K-On rear shelf, which attaches via the grab handle positions. I don't know if you can see that up in there, but the grab handles go back on. You just attach the brackets that hold it to the bolts that locate the grab handles. And that's been absolutely brilliant for storing all of the, well, not all, but a lot of the recovery gear. So snatch straps, tow straps, tyre repair kits, etc. etc. That's all up there. Down in the back, obviously a bit of stuff from when we travel, some spare D-shackles, rated shackles, and folding chairs and max tracks and so on. An ARB compressor in under there. So various bits and gears, bits and pieces, recovery gear basically. And that all fits in the back, and it still leaves me enough room when I stack it correctly. At the very rear there is a rubber mat there from Toyota, but at the very rear I can fit a companion 75 litre lithium ion fridge. It's got a 42 amp hour lithium ion battery in it. It'll run for about 16 hours with one side as fridge and one side as freezer. That fits in the back. That so far obviated the need for me to fit a dual battery system and lithium second battery and so on in order to run the fridge. It's quite capable of running off the 12-volt socket, the cigarette lighter plug socket, or if you wanted to, you can install an Anderson plug in the rear as well. But yeah, that's worked out really well for us. It's been simple. Again, I may well upgrade to something dual battery eventually, given time. I've yet to add a roof rack. That'll be one of the next modifications I'll do. Will be a roof platform, and probably put some gear from the rear up onto the roof rack, the max tracks and so on. Perhaps a second spare wheel if I'm doing long distance touring. I might put an extra spare wheel up there. Perhaps a recovery shovel and so on. But yeah, that's about it. I thought this might give those of you that are contemplating doing a build on your 150 Prado just some food for thought. I had the bulk of all this work done here in Perth by Aspect Off-Road. Tony up in Carramar, north of Perth, up past Wanneroo. So for anyone that's interested and you want to get quotes on whatever, bull bar, tow pro elite, brake controllers and all that sort of gear, give Tony at Aspect Off-Road a ring. I'm not sponsored or get no gratuities or anything from Tony. It's just that he's a decent chap. He does very good quality work. He's not cheap, but he's very good. And for me, there was a rather long wait list to get hold of an AFN bar. Tony happened to have one in stock and he colour coordinated it for me and installed it, and I was happy with the work he did, and I got him to do the tow bar at the rear and the K-on shelf, etc. So yeah, I've been overall very happy with what he's done. I'm happy with the way the vehicle operates and drives and how all the equipment works. So I hope that's of some interest for those of you contemplating doing your own 150 Prado build. I can proudly say that whilst I've been an ARB fan in years gone by, I've been a rusted on ARB fan and had a lot of ARB equipment on various four-wheel drives that I've owned. I've deliberately gone out of my way to avoid putting any ARB product on this particular vehicle, just because, I don't know, I think I've moved on from them. I don't know that they are the best in terms of design any longer. Some of their designs for rhubars, etc., and that leave me a little bit cold. And I just don't think that ARB, now that they're such a big corporate entity, are really interested in the individual that's doing a vehicle build. They seem to have a lot of their bookings. You know, there is a 6 months wait list for bookings. I think they've probably got that set aside for their corporate Toyota and other brand partners. And so I think getting products for just the average guy who's bought a vehicle and wants to do a build could be a bit of an issue with ARB. So that's my feelings on it. Like I said, I'm not dead against them. I just chose on this particular vehicle to see what I could do and what I could achieve with other manufacturers and without putting ARB equipment on. Feel free to ask any questions on the Sandgroper Prado page or on this YouTube channel. If you've got specifics you'd like to know about this particular build, hit me up. I'll tell you what I know. Thanks heaps. Hope that helps. Catch ya.